Welcome back for part 2 of lessons 9.2 and 9.3. Today we're going to focus on finding the mean, the range, and talk about what outliers are. So I've got my MMR rap lyrics ready to roll here. Now mean, he is the best. Of course he is better than all the rest. Just add all your numbers, and when you divide, you won't believe your eyes. You'll only have a number to your surprise. Last but not least is our friend the range. He isn't the best, but he sure is strange. You start with the high and subtract the low. You've got the range, and there is no more. So those are two of the things we're going to focus on today. And you'll notice I have a chart here that has data for us about band members who are in 6th grade across the Big Northern. And what we're going to do first, and you're going to want your notebook, is we're going to go ahead and order these numbers from least to greatest, just like we did before when we found the median and the mode. So we're going to take a look at our table, and our smallest number is 10. Follow that up with 50. And we have 65, 75, another 75. So we put them in order from least to greatest just like before, because if we needed to, we could find the median. Right in the middle would be 65. We could find the mode, which would be 75. But today, like I said, we're going to focus on mean. So our first step after that is we're going to find the mean. And as the song lyrics say, you add all your numbers and then you divide. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a math problem. We're going to do 10 plus 50 plus 65 plus 75 plus 75 more. And we're going to grab our calculator and type in those numbers. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video so you can come up with your total. And we should get 275. That's the first step. Once you've done that, you're going to have to divide. Now, sometimes people say, what do you divide by? Well, in this case, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of data. So we're going to do 275 divided by 5. Again, you can consult your calculator. 275 divided by 5 would give you a mean of 55. All right, so that's how you find your mean. Next, we're going to find the range. The range is really as easy as it sounds. You take the highest number and subtract the lowest number. Because we put them in order, it's really easy to find those. The highest number is 75, and the lowest number is 10. So 75 minus 10, you can do that mentally. You would get the range as 65. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about today are outliers. Outliers, by definition, is a data value that's much greater or much less than the other values. When it's included in a data set, it can actually affect the mean that you get. So it affected this number that we got right here. There does not have to be an outlier in a set of data, but in this case there is, because if you look at our data here, there is one number that is way far away from all of the others. And in this case, our outlier would be 10. So that outlier can affect data that you have, especially when you're finding the mean. I'm going to show you another example. This one is taken directly out of your textbook on page 399. And this one, I'll show you exactly why the outlier affects the mean. So if you looked in page 399, this is the problem you would see. It's about Shetland ponies and how tall they are. And the problem says, the table shows the heights of several Shetland ponies. Part A, identify the outlier. Part B, find the mean with and then without the outlier. And then part C says, describe how that outlier is affecting the mean. So what I did for part A to identify the outlier, I went ahead and made a dot plot. Okay, so when you look at these dots here, which we've done line plots before with X's, these are all the pieces of data from this table. And you notice how 28 is way far away from everything else. So the height of 28 inches is much less than the other heights, so that is our outlier. So what I'm going to do for part B is I'm going to find the mean 2 different times. Let me show you. The first time, I'm finding the mean with all of those pieces of data from the table. If you notice, I included that outlier of 28. That makes 10 pieces of data. So once I add them all together and get 379, I divide by 10, and I get 37.9. Now 37.9 would be about right here on my dot plot. I'm going to show you what happens when I don't include that 28 next. So I went ahead and I added the 9 data values without the outlier. And since there's only 9 of them now, I divide by 9 and I get 39. Now 39 is right here. So what happens for part C, describing how it affects it? Well, with the outlier, the mean would have been right about here, which is less than all but 3 of the pieces of data. There's only 1, 2, and then 3 that are less than it. So it's not really showing us the middle. But without that outlier in there, it came out to be right here, and that mean better represents the heights of all of those ponies. Okay. What we're going to do for an assignment today is you're going to have a puzzle sheet. So you're going to want to turn to your homework section of your notebook, and we're going to set it up like this. And you're going to go ahead and do your problems. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write out what you're doing. So for example, number 1 is finding the mean. So I'd like you to show me your addition problem and what you're dividing by, but then go ahead and use your calculator. You're going to fill in this part right here for the puzzle, and this you're going to turn into me when we next meet for class, which would be after Friday's Zoom party. So you'll actually turn this puzzle in to me on Monday, because I'd like for you guys all to come to the Zoom party and do teacher trivia with us. So if you have questions as you work through it, feel free to reach out and send me an email.